What's up, fight fans? Your boy P. Welsh here, bringing to you UFC Fight Night. Emmett versus Murphy from the Apex, coming off 11-1 Mexico City card, trying to keep it going here, ladies and gents. Starting off in the women's strawweight division, Vanessa Demopoulos versus Taliata Alencar. Demopoulos 11-6, coming off a loss versus 5-1-1. Alencar coming off a loss. Little bit of a reach advantage, a little bit of a leg advantage for Demopoulos on the reach, and Alan Carr for the legs. And I mean, how do you not take Demopoulos here? It's a pick'em on the books. Demopoulos is a fan favorite. She's a judging. She's a judge's favorite as well. And her last fight was a loss, but she kind of got armbarred and hooked. I think you're getting a good value for her. I think she looks really good when the judges fight and they like her style. She's kind of the pick for me. It's just like the people that win on the judges' scorecards, I never want to go against them. I think it's going to be a close fight. I mean, it's a pick 'em. It's probably going to go back and forth. And like again, do you trust the judges or do you not? I just know the judges like Demopoulos. So that's where I'm going to lean for the first pick. Not a super big confident pick. I do like her volume. I do like her technique. I do think she's got a great mentality. I do like Demopoulos a lot that she brings to the table. She's a veteran. She knows how to just get in there and throw hands. And if the chick ain't up to snub for today, she's gonna win and she's gonna look like a good favorite doing it. So realistically, I think Demopoulos gets a nice decision win here. Unless like I said, she got finished. She got her glove. She got arm hooked. She got her glove. She make excuses for why you lose, but let's go Demopoulos here. Next, we got the men's bantamweight Victor Henry, 24-7-1 no contest versus Pedro Falcao punch, 16-4. And I don't know why they don't have him. He probably grappled last. He lost in his last to Victor Hugo. I mean, I like Henry here. Henry's a veteran. I know he's a little bit older. He's got a little bit of a reach advantage. I'm a big fan of Henry. I think he brings a lot to the table. I think he's a tough out. And while I definitely think he can get finished, I just don't really know how I can go in there picking Falcao with a little bit of UFC experience. Lost to Hugo, who's, give or take, didn't have, he just got starched, last fight. I think Hugo can really put a hurting on some guys. He's very technical, Henry, too much on the mind. He lost to Jourdain, but Jourdain's a beast, right? I think Jourdain came down from featherweight to bantamweight, and we had Jourdain on the win there. I think Henry gets a nice rebound win. Big favorite, very clean, very technical. Only going to lose to like really bigger guys sometimes, I feel like, is where he'll struggle. He was looking good in that Basharat fight until he got kicked in the nuts harder than back to Timbuktu. Knockout Araya, just good solid fighter, man. Ione Barcelos wins on his resume. Like, he's been in a lot of wars. You got to pick Victor Henry here. And we'll go from there. Falcao's going to have to put that Falcao punch on him to really, bring home the win condition is definitely finished for him. He definitely has got to get Henry hurt and in a bad spot. But I just don't know if he does that against quality oppositions, right? Like, it's really hard, like the levels to the game and everything. So I like Henry here, and like you said, anything can happen in the fight games, but I've been more impressed and disappointed in Henry. Like I said, even that loss to Jourdain, it's like, yeah, Jourdain's coming down the bantamweight, and he's a pretty sizable opponent. Bad matchup for Henry there. Good for Falcao. Let's go, baby. Women's strawweight, Loma Lokbumi, 9-3 versus Istila Nunez, 6-5, and big 3-inch height advantage and reach advantage for Nunes, but Look Bumi she's possibly the truth, man. They really like her. She's a big favorite this week, and I will say this: if any of the big favorites fall, it is sometimes in the ladies division. We had what was freaking Wong, the Joker Wong, like a couple months ago at the beginning of the year. So I think Lick Boom Me, though, is the pick. I mean, it's really hard to go with Nunez. Like I said, if you're trying on a flyer, like, how are you going to get behind Nunez? I don't know. I don't know. Power, her speed, losses to Hagari, Hughes, Dudakova, Carol Lessie, just not putting it on fighters in the UFC. And I just think Luke Bumi is one of those, she's just going to put it on you. So I think it's pretty one-sided. We can probably, if there's a big upset here, we can enjoy a ride if you want to take a flyer, but is a paper airplane in a hurricane. So, Loma look boo me, official pick. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, to the men's welterweight division. We got Reese McKee, 13-6-1, coming off a loss versus Daniel Frunza. What's Frunza's record here? 9-2, welterweight. 1-0 in the Contender Series. Got a ground and pound win to get the contract here. And Reese McKee, second time in the UFC, no wins in the UFC. And I'm kind of leaning towards picking him here. I really just think he's fought some fierce competition, and this is either like you're gonna fight and be right, or you're gonna fight and go home. You're gonna fight some of the likes of the guys that he have fought. He rebounded in between his UFC stints, and even coming back, losses to some high level people. Make sure I got that right. Chitty and Lusa, so at least like stern competition, I should say. I mean, but Frunza is. He's if you can't beat him, you're not being in the UFC, right? This is like McKee is either gonna lose a contract or win a fight. Frunza probably's got a chance to adjust. Hopefully he looks good. Maybe wins on the judges' scorecard. I can definitely see this one going to a decision, but I could also see somebody getting a finish. Some of these fights are really hard to kind of gauge here later. Like they're really hard. This is not my favorite fight. Card. I think it will be exciting. I think it will be a hella great one. I just don't know what the hell is going to happen. Coming off 11 in 1 week, you want to be like, yeah, we're going to do that again. Absolutely no clue, right? Especially like leaning towards Reese McKee. It's like, am I talking myself on him because he's got UFC experience, or is he actually a trash can? Like all intents and purposes as like trying to pick somebody for a fighter. His friends are going to come in here and absolutely just put a power punch on him and fold him like a lawn chair. You just never really know in the fight game, and this is why we watch, and you could be completely wrong. And I just kind of like McKee in an underdog spot here to probably just try and edge out a win. And if he can't, then he can't. And he's probably done. Because if you can't beat somebody coming off the Contender Series, this is GG's, This is it for him. And he can still win and get cut too. So I like McKee to get a dub here. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Women's flyweight bouts. Diana Balbita versus Dione Barbosa. Huge favorite for Barbosa here. 15-9 coming off a loss versus 7-3. Diane Belbita, cheese. Losses to McCann, Kalorowski. It's just not good form for Belbita, and Barbosa's, she's jacked, dude. She probably should get a finish. Bunch of female fights on the card here. Lost to Maverick lately, but, good win against Cara Katie. I think Barbosa's live for a finish here. I don't know. I just think she's class ahead of her, and I don't know. I don't really have much to break down on it. I don't know what advantages and disadvantages you have to. Belbita's got a leg kick advantage or a reach advantage at least, but I feel like that can get you off balance and get you taken down in a ground and pound position. Where Barbosa, if you're doing damage and then get them off balance, take them down to the ground, it can be over fast. I don't expect this one to go to the scorecard. I definitely don't. Most female fights I do. Not much to break down here. A little under the weather, a little stuffy right here. Just trying to power through this, get it done. A little behind anyway, or a little late on it. I did it a day later. Had good luck with it last week. Probably have a terrible week this week. But we're just trying to plug along here. I like Barbosa, though. We're just going for straight picks this week, ladies and gentlemen. Moving on to the men's bantamweight division, we got Davey Grant, 16-7, and then we got Daniel Santos, 12-2. Both men coming off a win. Similar metrics, a little bit of a reach advantage and a leg advantage for Grant here. Another spot where I like the underdog here. I like Davey Grant. Give me some Davey Grant action. Just volume, durability, toughness, I think is going to just shine over the course of 15 minutes. My guy Santos can't find a way to get him out of there. It's going to be a long day. Grant's just got a nice game plan. Just not so much activity. The rescheduled bouts against, Marcos, Syed, and then landing on Davey Grant. Not exactly. I don't really know how to feel about that. I mean, I know Grant lost to Marcos, and I'm a big guy on Marcos. I think he's a very, very class fighter, striker too. But Johnny Munoz and John Castaneda, like 3 years ago, against Davey Grant, who's just training and a veteran. I like Davey Grant here. Call me crazy, but I'm picking Davey, dude. I just feel like just the activity, the training. Don't sleep on the underdog. The other guy, Santos ain't give me no reason to think he's going to put Davy Grant's lights out. Like Davy Grant gets his lights put out by many people. He'll get subbed out, and I don't think Santos is really going to be able to get that. His takedown defense is pretty solid, too. And all things considered, he's probably a better striker. I think Davy Grant can even knock out Santos here. And it's one of my... I don't know if it's just a fandom favorite pick right now, but definitely one of the spots I kind of circled, and I was like, man, this seems like they don't really know what to think about it. I get why Santos could be considered a favorite, but I mean, we just saw Davy Grant fought like 3 months ago. I don't think he should be considered an underdog. I think recency bias plays a lot in the fight game, and I think this one needs to be adjusted for a little bit more. That being said, let's see how they show up on the scales. My guy Santos has a lot of canceled bouts, and like I said, Davy Grant's a certified gamer, a certified hustler, dude. Let's go, baby. Davy Grant for the win. On to the feature prelim. We got Ode Osborne versus Louis Gurriel. Ode Osborne 12-8 coming off a loss. We got Louis 10-0 flyweight, making his UFC debut from the Contender Series off a split decision win. And man, I'm flip flopping on this one. This is one that, like, how are you gonna pick Louis? I'm just give me Ode. Like, initially, as I have to figure out this video. I wanted to pick Louis as I came on here. I mean, I get Osborne's taking a bunch of losses, but my guy is a certified UFC specialist, man. He fights the toughest guys in the division. Almabayev, Filio, Rodriguez, those are not guys to be mad about losing to. They're really tough. Win against Charles Johnson. This guy, Louis, wishes he had a win against Charles Johnson. He'd be auto pick right now. But that's my thing is, how am I going to get behind Louis Gurriel? Like, making his debut. I don't know, man. It's just this one's tough for me. This one's a little tough. I'm gonna pick Osborne. I may be completely wrong here. This is a reversal from when I started the video. I'm picking Osborne. He's just got the pedigree, bro, and like he looked pretty good against Lazy Boy. Let's not be unrealistic. Like, Lazy Boy probably got a little gifted. He got touched up on the chin in that fight. My guy Borjas just made Lazy Boy look good. I can kind of consider Ode Osborne in a prime spot to rebound here. Filio, grappling specialist. Almabayev, absolute beast. I think he rebounds here. I think this is a big spot for an underdog card. Dude, Ode Osborne's I don't know. If I'm missing something, he's just been around for a while. I just value that experience and making general picks. Right now, it's just hard for me to go on an edge. I don't care what the betting favorites is for Louis. It's just one of those things. I'm just not going to go against Ode Osborne, even with a losing record. Like, I think at some point, like, these guys' pride taken into consideration. Like, these guys train, they show up, they want wins. This guy's not booking another fight to book a loss, right? Osborne's going to get the job done here. Absolutely. Absolutely. Over Louis. Sorry, Louis. Maybe next time. Maybe a better matchup. But I just think he's just... and the thing is, we've won betting against Osborne, and I don't think he's a bad fighter. I really don't. I don't think he should be an underdog against a guy making his debut. Absolutely not. I think he should be able to go in there, compose himself in the apex, even if he wins a decision victory. He might not. In my opinion, he should get a finish on this guy, but I think he actually just grinds out a unanimous decision win, and he moves on. And I think he just goes from there, looks for another opponent. But like, I really think Osborne's the pick here. I mean, realistically, even as an underdog. All right, let's go to the main card, ladies and gentlemen. Another greasy one that I have no idea about. Middleweight bout, Torres Finney versus Robert Valentine Frey. Finney, marginal favorite here, making his debut. Valentine, I think, take a loss to... Who did he take a loss to? Somebody got finished. I'm just going to pick Finney here. I don't really have much to break down here. Is this guy going to get a power shot off? Is the guy Valentine any good? I don't know. I really don't even know. This one's so hard to tell. Is Finney any good? We have no idea. Look at it. Who knows? His traps are gigantic. He's got power for days. Is he going to be able to connect? Is the timing going to be there? Is he going to be picked apart from the outside? Who freaking knows, dude? We saw Robalis Despansage, who we all thought was a great prospect, just get absolutely torched in the UFC. It could definitely very well happen. My guy, freaking Valentine, could be like, I'm just going to wrestle this guy. He got no balance. You know what I mean? Like... All things considered, 6 submission wins for Valentine. He's definitely, I think, live. If you can get this guy on the ground to finish him. I don't know. I'm just going to pick Finney. Finney's the official pick. But Am I going to sprinkle a little bit on Valentine? Maybe. Just because Valentine sub, if this guy Finney, I definitely think this fight does not go to the distance. This fight just screams to me first or second round finish. Either Finney gets him in the first or Valentine wears on him in the second and he just can't recover. I don't think this fight starts the third round so much. Man, I don't really know what's going to happen here. It's kind of like a style. Which guy's going to show up in the octagon and looks sharper? Which guy's more comfortable in the Apex octagon versus like if this was in a different city on a bigger stage? What would be the difference? So, I can see Valentine winning. Like I said, he's definitely live for a sub. I think his finish rate is something that, who knows, man. This guy Finney's just a 3-time fighter, bro. He has very little experience. What's going to happen? Let's just watch and enjoy. But let's just pick Finney. Have a good time. Boom! Moving on, ladies and gentlemen. Fight I really like. Fight is very well made. Brad Tavares versus Gerald Meerschaert, middleweight bout. Tavares 20-11 coming off a loss. Meerschaert 37-18 coming off a loss. Both of these guys super experienced. I think Tavares has 20. All his fights are in the UFC. 20, 25, 30 fights. And Meerschaert's, again, 20-plus fight veteran. I like this fight to end. I actually put a little shekels down, under 2.5. I think Meerschaert is very live as a dog here. I'm picking a lot of dogs here. I don't know how right or wrong I'm going to be this week. I got Meerschaert in an upset. I think he's better on the hands, and if he gets Tavares down, he definitely has a clear ground game that will finish Tavares, right? Like, I think Meerschaert's the pick. I like it. I like him on the money line. I like him to get a finish. I like this fight not to go at full 3 rounds. I just think these guys are too experienced to play it too cautiously. I think they both know themselves very well. Meerschaert knows he's going for the finish. He's going to lay it on the line. And I just don't think Tavares is that good to warrant like him being able to like hold off for a decision. Like, I don't know. Is his striking better than Meerschaert's? I don't think so. He's got a reach advantage. Is he going to kick him to death? If he's kicking him so much, I think Meerschaert can get him down and get him to the ground. Focus on. He's got great ground game. I think Meerschaert's. I think this is way more of a pick'em. If it was way more of a pick'em, I'm leaning towards Tavares. But just as an underdog, I think this is one that the books just got really wrong. And just seeing that, like, I'm a Meerschaert guy. Both these guys just go against anybody and everybody, dude. Weidman, Silva, Duplessis, RoboCop. You know what I mean? Meerschaert, Benoit. How many of these guys are just fighting killers? This is a great matchup. I love this fight. This fight is a fighter's fight. 29 subs. I definitely see Meerschaert getting a sub win. Doing well on the feet, contesting, getting them down, getting him against the cage. Just going from there, man. Losses that Meerschaert has experienced is to Pfeiffer and Petrovsky and Rainier de Ritter. Eric Anders, Holland, Hermanson. This fight's going to get finished one way or another, I believe. And I think Meerschaert's the guy to get it done. Let's go, baby. Heavyweight bout. My guy Kennedy's a heavyweight now. Zinchekwu versus Martin Buday. Kennedy 14-5. Newly up 2 fights in the heavyweight division. Buday 14-2. Coming off a win. Who did Buday fight off that win? We snagged him off that win, but it was not super impressive. Trying to fight in that one. It was Arlovsky. Yeah, split decision Arlovsky, and he got crushed by Gaziv. I got Zinchekwu here. I went against Kennedy a couple times, and reluctantly, it didn't work out. Yes, OSP specifically. Maybe he's just better that he's not cutting any weight. Maybe he's a natural heavyweight. So I'm going Kennedy here. He looks pretty sharp. Last couple bouts since his loss to... Was his loss to OSP? His loss was to OSP. My bad. Barnett and Brevsky. Buday, similar matchup. See what happens here. I don't know. Sometimes he gets touched on the chin and he goes down. That's always a liability with Zinchekwu. You know what I mean? The Dustin Jacoby loss, I'll never forgive him for. The OSP right after that, he makes him hard to trust. So, Buday might be able to put him on there, but, I don't know, man. This is another one that, I'm not really excited about either way. I'm definitely picking Kennedy just because I ain't no way getting behind Buday against, that last win was, or against Arlovsky at 46, Gaziv, Parisons, Collier, Brevsky. He's not finishing nobody. If he finishes in check, we'll give him credit, but that's Kennedy's loss. Is this guy's got to come with him with something like Gaziv. Got Kennedy. Let's go, baby. Another one I really have no idea about. Ramius versus Chung Ho Lee. Bantamweight bout. Cortavius, 9-3 coming off a loss versus Lee. 10-1 coming off of Lee. Betting favorite is Lee. And Ramius lost to Gaston Barralos, class striker on the feet, boxer. And is that going to happen here today? Who knows, man? This is another one. They got him back and forth. I'm leaning Ho Lee, but could be completely wrong. There's just so many fights that they're hard to predict. I think Ho Lee will have the better of him on the feet, and I think his performances and results warrant that he's a favorite here, and that's why I'm picking him, because I do think he is a stronger stand-up fighter. I think he's got the ability to do more damage, but I also think Ramius is live for a highlight reel finish, getting inside the pocket, doing damage, and touching the chin. That's his win condition. Otherwise, I think Lee wins from distance. I think Lee wins with volume. I think Lee wins with technique. And it could all change with one punch, right? You get hit in the nose, you get hit in the liver, you go down, and it's over. So I do think that's kind of Ramius's win condition, is something like that. Outside of that, I think we kind of saw it in that in his loss, where Gaston he looked good, man. I had Ramius in that fight too, and Gaston he was class, and I think he had trouble with the timings. He had trouble with just everything that goes into, like, if it was one. There's just levels, man. There's levels, and even just getting to the UFC through the Contender Series, the people you fight are different levels. The matchups that, like, you can kind of see it. What was it, Kevin Viallos versus Gene Silva? You look at that fight 2 years later, you're like, oh, that's a different fight versus two guys that didn't even make it. Just like the seasons are different on the Contender Series on who they're fighting. Oh, let's just go Lee here. I'm done talking. 2 fights left. Featherweight co-main event. My guy Pat, strong name Sabatini, coming off a win versus Joe Anderson Brito. 17-4 coming off a loss. And Sabatini's win against who was it against? Jonathan Pierce. He walked right through him, but Brito's a beast, man. If Brito's taking another loss here, I got to claps up to Pat here. This is a Joe Anderson Brito spot. He's got venom on his mind. This guy beat Diego Lopes, who's fighting for the featherweight belt. And he took a bad split decision loss against Gomes in France his last time out. I think this guy comes out and might put Sabatini away. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Jamal Emmers and Gabriel Miranda last week, but I don't think Sabatini's even inclined to throw on his feet. I think he's going to go right for the feet and handle that. I think Brito's a great athlete. I think he can handle himself defensively. And he really struggled with Gomes. Gomes is like 7 foot tall. He's really lengthy. Weight bully down to freaking 145. And it was split decision loss, right? Like, it was on French soil. But the French were not letting Gomes go for that one. This is a Brito spot. I think he's one of the best up-and-coming prospects in the featherweight division. I think he could fight 2 more times this year, and with a couple of nice wins, really put an emphasis on where he stands and where he wants to be. I think he's going to call off Lopes. Hey, Lopes, when you lose to Volkanovski, if not, I'm coming for that belt, something like that. I think Brito's got it. I think he goes for a finish to get that Mike moment, and I don't want to pick against him. I love Pat Sabatini, and I would love to see Pat Sabatini walk through this guy and get him with like a heel hook, but I just don't think it's a good matchup for Pat. The Brito just hits differently for 145, just hits differently for not being a gigantic guy either. So let's go, baby. On to the main event. Talk about some hard hitters, baby. Josh Emmett versus Leroy Murphy. Emmett 19-4 coming off a win versus Leroy Murphy 15-0-1. Lossless record. I was going to say unblemished, undefeated, but he did take a draw. I'm trying to find that draw. Long time ago. On a Habib Poirier card. Wow. I like Emmett. I don't like him here, though. I think Murphy's going to play it safe. I think he'll win with speed, technique, accuracy, kind of deal with what Emmett doesn't do well approaching 40-plus years old. But I tell you what, man, power don't age like that. If he hits him, if he can deal with the pace, the volume, Emmett's coming in here game, dude. I don't like picking against him, but I'm not picking against Murphy either. Murphy looks so good against Barbosa, and I feel like it's just going to be something similar to that, where he'll just be able to manage the distance, control, negate the power, and what Emmett does, he is kind of limited. But what he does is super exceptional, right? But I think Murphy is super exceptional, even if he doesn't do something spectacular. And I think that's where he kind of wins this fight over 5 rounds. I think he wins with his reach, his height, his speed, his youth. And I think Emmett, best chances to win the fight late. Emmett 4, Emmett 5. He's taken a lot of beatings in his life. His last fight was real awesome. Props off to him, giving us the best knockout ever of Bryce Mitchell. Holy shnikes. But not a couple not great performances before that against a couple great stars, and which I consider Murphy levels of Yair at least. I like Murphy here. I would love to pick Emmett. I would maybe love to bet Emmett too, but I also think Emmett has a great chance to win late this fight. He's got a great chance. He's got that knockout power, dude. He might be one of the strongest 145ers we ever seen. Like just pound for pound, punch power for punch power. I don't know if there's anybody scarier than if you were to be walking down from Josh Emmett, right? Now, if you're a skilled fighter, you might be able to negate that power with other things you could do well that he might not do the best of his ability. A bit older, but by God, he's got a couple bullets left, and if one lands, it could be over for Murphy. But the official pick is Murphy. We'll do a recap. Not the most in-depth video. A lot of fights I really just don't feel like entirely the best about either. We were finally catching up with a few of the female fights. We kind of been not having some recently. A lot of Contender Series guys. A couple really nice matchups I'm really looking forward to, but a couple that like I have no idea about. The book's doing us some favor on some of these big favorites, but I'm picking a bunch of underdogs this week too, especially in the men's. I don't know. I just don't feel like I just feel like there's some opportunity for some better fighters in some good in some good situations to win on the scorecards, to win on volume, to win on experience, to win on time, to win on control, to win on volume, to win on just being a better fighter than the guy that they're in the octagon with. We're in UFC Apex in the 25-foot octagon or meter. It's 25 foot. It has to be. Small arena, not out of Mexico City, out of Seattle, wherever we've been the last couple of weeks. Should be a fascinating card. I'm going to do a quick little recap here. I don't think the order is going to be the exact order that comes up. They usually adjust it on Friday around the weigh-ins. Let's see how everybody weighs in. Hopefully no canceled fights. 11-1 last week. Only fight for Gaslam canceled. But we're going to start off with Demopolis here. We're going to go Victor Henry. We got Look Boom Me, Royce McKee, Diane Barbosa. We're taking Davey Grant and Ode Osborne. Next on the main card, Finney, Mearshart, Zinchek Wu. We're going Lee, Brito, and Emmett. No, not Emmett. Scratch Emmett. Murphy. My bad. Murphy. Thank you guys so much. Like, comment, subscribe if you made it this far in the video. And comment your list of winners. If you get every winner right, you can I'll give you $100. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, your family, and your friends. Peace and love, everybody.